This is my DIY 10-inch server rack, and I'm going to show you how I 3D printed about 80% of this server rack. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. Whether you need 3D printing services in various materials, CNC machining, or PCB fabrication, to even injection molding, PCBWay has you covered with a bunch of different materials and finishes for many different processes to make your projects just the way you want them. Try PCBWay today by using the link below to save $5 on your first order. A big thanks to PCBWay for sponsoring this video. Welcome to the channel. My name is Sim, and today I have a new project that I started, like many others, by watching YouTube. So I'm scrolling on YouTube and I see a video by Hardware Haven talking about the Desk Mini Pi mini rack, and I immediately needed to have one. So I scrolled over to Amazon and checked it out, and the price wasn't something I was willing to pay right now. So I thought to myself, could I make something like this, and how hard would it be? After noticing a lot of his parts for his 10-inch mini rack were 3D printed, I was checking out Thingiverse and printables to see if there were anything out there or any prints out there that would fit my situation and the hardware that I had. And to my surprise, there was a print for literally everything I have in my home lab. So when planning out this build, I initially wanted to have something that was fully 3D printed from the bottom to the top. But looking at a lot of the builds that were on the community pages on like printables and Thingiverse, they didn't really look up to par for what I wanted for my build. I just wanted something that was a little bit more solid and not just all plastic. So I ended up getting 2 packs of Gator Rackworks heavy duty steel rails. These are 8U. Each pack comes with 2, so I need 4 obviously. And to put it together, I wanted to use something that was 3D printed, and the easiest thing for me was to find a 10-inch 1U blank and just put one on every corner. And it made sense in my head. So I initially printed 8 of those for every corner, and when I put it together, it wasn't really that structurally sound. It was wobbly. So I took the STL for the blank and made it 3 times thicker, and that was what I needed for it to be as rigid as I needed it to be. It's not perfect, but now I used regular Phillips screws and nuts to put this thing together. Nothing special. You could buy any kit of just nuts and bolts and use that for the sides, because there are no threads to put any screws on the sides. You can basically, most people just take wood, screw it together, and you're good to go. I wanted this to be as cheap as possible because I don't have any wood and I don't have a saw. I just did it that way. I used washers on the plastic side not to crush them, and the metal on the other side is just enough for it to be secure. Also, for the front and the back, you're going to want to get the Gator Rackworks 1032 rack screws. I ended up getting 2 packs of these. I think they were like $6 each, just to have enough to put everything on the front with 4 screws. And I put a couple things on the back just to make it more rigid because it was just open. So I did end up putting 2 more blanks, and that took up more screws. So definitely want to get 2 of these. For the top, initially I did go with a 1U blank that had a hole cut in it for my Ethernet drops, but I didn't like the way that looked. So I did buy the GeekPi 12 Keystone half U, and I put that on the top. It looks much better to me. I like the Cat 6 and the thinness of that. And for my switch, it is a TP-Link 8-port switch. I found a print for that and immediately realized that my router, which is the TP-Link ER605, was the exact same dimensions. So I just printed it again and it fit just fine. Side note, I will be installing OpenWRT on that router. I will not use it like that forever. Okay. Next up, it was my Raspberry Pi and my power supply for my USB devices. I used the Pi for Pi-hole and VPN access, and I didn't want to print a 1U that was specifically for a Raspberry Pi because I didn't want to waste all that space. So I just printed out a normal perforated shelf just in case I wanted to zip tie the Pi down and have it not move, but I haven't had any issues with it. It's perfect, honestly. And I put that there with the 5-port USB hub. This powers my 8-port switch, which is 5 volts. It also powers the fans that are in the cabinet, and it also powers the pipe. Underneath that, I have 2 Dell Optiplex 3050s. These are both the same exact thing. They're both 7th Gen i5s, 32 gigs of RAM, 512 SSD. The top one is used for Windows Server. I host Minecraft, Pal World, and a bunch of other Steam games on there. And for the second one, it is Open Media Vault. I use this for my Docker containers like Home Assistant, Plex, so on and so forth. And it's connected to a 6 terabyte external that holds all the media and containers and all that stuff. And for the bottom, I have 2 empty slots. I don't know what I want to do yet. I might just print shelves and put the external drive there or buy new ones. I kind of like what Hardware Haven did, where he had the enclosure on the bottom with a bunch of drives. I might try that at some point, but for right now, I just left them blank because I do have long-term storage. It's a small two bay NAS that I use for my personal files, pictures and stuff like that, and that's on the side. It doesn't really need to be in the rack right now. And that's pretty much it for the rack. The rack is pretty solid. It feels great. It doesn't look off center. I don't know if you guys would have noticed in some of the footage in this video, it's kind of not straight. I did get a level and go back and fix that. But now it's great. There were also feet. There were feet for this. They just took up half U on the bottom, and I didn't want to lose that space, so I just didn't use them. I'll put a clip of them here if you want or are interested in having the feet. Yeah, this project has come out fantastic. I love the way it looks. Everything works as intended. I didn't really have issues other than on the sides. They're all different prints from different users, so they don't all really align perfectly, but that's just a small nitpick. The functionality is there, and I believe this build was probably less than $50, not including the filament because it was sitting in my garage anyways, and I haven't used it in years. But yeah, if you guys are interested in building your own, I will provide links to everything I used in this video, and feel free to build your own. And if you have any ideas, or if there's anything you think I could have done better for this project, please let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to leave a like or dislike if you hated it. I'm Sim, and I'll see you next time.